Yo, yo, yo.
Hey man, I ain't used to this. I ain't used to this 7 o'clock, bro. We might we ain't coming back to this 7 o'clock much longer. But man, it's great to be live. You know we missed a week. I know people probably missed out on us, but we back live again, man.
We back live and people signing in. People that ain't never watched us all year signing in. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Hey, this is the big one. This is the big one. I think everybody want to hear about what we got to say for this one. But to start the episode off, man, we have had what's it called? We had an influx in numbers after this week of people joining the page, checking out our content, seeing what we've been putting out. So we really appreciate a lot of you guys who we're gonna shout out first the faithful followers, the people who've been with us from the beginning. I thought it was super dope walking backstage and people talking about, hey, I follow y'all podcast. They probably said it to me because you were competing and the people know not to talk to you, but they were friendly with me. So they're like, hey, we watch your podcast. We really love what y'all talking about. Keep it going. So with that being said, that was super dope because we were able to connect with people that we never really, really met in person on Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
But yeah, man, the page is growing, the pod's growing, and we got some stuff to talk about today, man.
We gonna talk about it.
So let's see. I want to give it a couple more minutes. I know I got pushing up to about 20 something over here. I don't know your number, but we're gonna get at it shortly. But where do we start, man? Where do we start? Where do we start with the weekend?
Man, let's
So
just go ahead and congratulate all the winners. You know what I'm talking about?
okay, for sure, for sure. So we'll go into that. But the first is, the Yorton Cup this year was the biggest, as big as the plug would say, the biggest, the largest
The biggest, the
natural
largest.
pro show ever. It had 234 people registered that competed on that stage. It was the biggest. I think last year we had about 220, so they surpassed that by 15, 13, 14, 15 athletes. So natural bodybuilding, as we know, is growing. As much as people want to say that natural bodybuilding is drying out, dying out, it is not. We are alive and well, especially over here in OCB. But even at these other shows, I know the end of the season is even going to be a bigger push. But let's start off the show with the winners, and then we'll talk about our personal perspectives from last weekend, from my side of the spectator side, and then Jamal's side as the competitor side. So let's start it off with I have this screen grab. These are the 7 new winners, but we will also be going through the top 3. So at the top left, we have Derek Flory, friend of the show, aka Flex God, who came and actually did an interview with us. We will be speaking to him again shortly. Definitely hearing about some more of his journey and how he was able to tackle this his freshman year. You can introduce the second guy. I think you're gonna do him more justice than me.
Man, that's the four-time Magnum McCray, a good friend of ours. We call him our cousin. Man, he came in and did his damn thing. Came in undeniable. I don't think anybody was even close to touching that man, and I don't think anybody. If Magnum keep coming back for the next 5 years, I think he'll keep winning. To be honest with you, but shout out to Magnum for winning it 4 times in a row. Well, not in a row, but
For
four
sure, for
times.
sure, for sure, for sure. The next guy, classic. I think his name is. I don't want to butcher it. His name is Domain.
You about to
Um,
butcher it.
you butchered it. What
Nah,
is
I
it?
don't
What is
know.
it? What is it?
Nah, I think
Domain?
it. I think it is the main, the main.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's Domain. Came in classic. I think he went pro. I think maybe this year.
At
At
the
French
Conqueror.
show.
Yep.
Yeah, I just seen that, and I mean he looked great as well. Moving to who we have, the women's physique. We have Liz, if I'm not mistaken. She looked phenomenal. I know I seen it on live stream for her particular spot, and then I saw the pictures from her in person. And I was just like, oh, that's how we coming this year. So she definitely looked great. Y'all will see the top 3 comparison as well.
Her legs
Um,
was crazy as shit, bro. Like the fucking cuts and shit she had in her legs was fucking nuts.
and her back was nuts too.
Yeah.
We're also looking forward to speaking with her. We got her lined up, and we will be interviewing her shortly as well. Next to her is Maddie McConnell. I don't know much about Maddie. Looking forward to having her on the show as well to tell us more about her journey. But as you can see in that photo, her shape, that is what figure is in the natural world. Um, and then next, Callie, which we will be interviewing shortly as well. She came up. I think she's a newcomer from Colorado or out there near Colorado. Uh, Came in, won wellness, and then lastly, you know who that is. So go ahead and tell us who the last person is for Bikini Jamal.
That's good old Jillian. We had her up here too, man. She finally got the cut, man. So I'm very happy for her. So well overdue,
Also,
I should say.
also a friend of the show, and we will also have her on. Super looking forward to having all of these people. I think it's become like almost a tradition to have all the Yorton Cup winners come and speak to us. Maybe we might even get Magnum on here. You know, he might pop out and talk to us again. You know,
Actually,
so
I think we can make that happen. I actually talked to him earlier on the phone. He had hit me up, so I think we can make that happen, man.
all right, gotcha. So I'm gonna take that down and let's go ahead and get into our perspectives. Then we'll show the top three because I definitely want to still give kudos to the top three of each division. But I want to make sure that we actually hone in on the total experience of what the Yorton was this past week, especially for us, right? For the people who saw it on live stream, yeah, they saw the show. But then there's also a lot of people who experienced the glitz, the glam, from check-ins to backstage to the way the show was ran. That I think a lot of people deserve credit for. And yeah, let's just get into that. So, from a competitor standpoint, on your side, uh, were there things you like, dislikes? Like, what was your total experience from start to finish with it?
I mean, the Yorton's a Yorton. It's always going to be a top quality show. As you know, the men went on Sunday, so Saturday we had to check in. Um, Personally, I felt like the guys didn't get the same benefits that the women got checking in on Friday. I seen interviews going on Friday, whatever, and from what I seen, the men didn't get that during the check-ins. I felt like it was just like a ghost check-in for the men. So I think that's one thing that could have been, I guess, a little better for the men, as far as experience wise. As far as the show backstage area, previously the last 2 years I've done it. That little hallway's been packed because all the competitors are trying to get back there. So since it was a 2 day event this year, you had more room to move around or whatnot. Um, they put out times for each category, and I think they hit them times exactly like they were supposed to. So the show went smooth, man, real smooth.
Gotcha. Okay. And also from the competitor standpoint, I know you were able to watch a little. Well, you were backstage for bodybuilding, but then from a competitor standpoint, when it came to getting on stage, quarter turns, how long you were on stage, how was that? Because I think the one thing that we have to speak about from our experience is one to the amateurs, or one or two to the people who haven't done the Yorton, they don't realize how long you guys are really on stage. They think, oh, if I practice my posing for 10 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day, that's going to get me through. But hopefully they go back and watch the live stream. But I think y'all was on stage probably for about 15, 20 minutes at
Yeah,
some.
Sully does a great job of freaking working us, man. And even just like moving us around, making sure everybody's getting compared how they're supposed to get compared. So we were on stage for a good while, dude. Like it wasn't no 5 minutes, and we're off. It was a while. So as far as the stage time, I think all the athletes got plenty of stage time, and that's that.
Yeah, no, I'll be remiss if I don't say this. I mean, we talk about things on this podcast and we put things in the air and we hope for it, right? But I think the one thing we talked about was how possibly a call out system or having call outs can better help with the understanding of judging. And I mean, it was a pleasant surprise to see you guys in bodybuilding do like a call out. it was almost like we got to, I don't know. I mean, people say, oh, that's what NPC does. That's what IFBB does. But it also is for the fans. Like, I think as a spectator, I appreciated that so much because it's like, when you're looking at non-guys, like if you're taking the average bodybuilder person who doesn't know much about the show, right? And then they're looking at non-people, they don't know what they're looking for. But then when you take top 3 or top 4, or you make it a smaller group, now people can get a better look at what those guys look like compared to the Nets. What did you think about that? Because you were actually in a couple call outs.
Man, the calls was something different. I really wasn't expecting that. I thought they would do that more along the lines of bikini because they had so many bikini competitors. So I thought that
Right.
would be a perfect fit for bikini. But I guess he ended up doing it for bodybuilding, and then he did it for classic. And I mean, I thought it was cool. It was a cool experience. Of course, if you know how call outs work, so let me go ahead and get into that. If you know how call outs work, usually the first group of people um on stage are first call out. So you're trying to figure out, the top 3 or top 4. I was not a part of that first group. I was a part of the second
Mm-hmm.
group. So as an athlete standpoint, as the current champion, it was a little discouraging getting called out with the second group. But all you can do is smile and try to move forward from that. But the call outs was interesting. Sunday, to say the least.
Yeah, I think it was one. It was an experiment, and then I think two, like you said, if people know who call outs is, and we all know Sully, right? Sully was the head
Right,
judge. We all know Sully. He does stuff on his own, like kind of manner, right?
right,
Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, and sometimes it is, right? I
right.
think the people who watch bodybuilding, they can kind of see the rhyme or reason, and sometimes it was just like, hey, I just want to see these guys. Hey, I just want to see these guys. But I enjoyed it because from a fan perspective, I'm like, nah, this is dope. Like, hey, and I think it also shows who practiced their posing, who was ready for the moment, right?
Mhm,
Because there was a time where I think it was in bodybuilding where Magnum was on stage and he brought 2 people up to Magnum. Then he took the other 2 people off and brought 2 more people up to compare to Magnum. And I was just like, that shows that Magnum's a professional. Like, no matter what people say, like he could have started cracking, he could have started folding, but his posing was on point through all of the call outs. Like he was up there posing for probably 10 minutes straight while other
mhm.
people sitting on the sideline, they come off fresh and he's still out posing them, you know? So that's a part of being a professional, like having that posing conditioning. It's not just being able to hit your pose once or twice, it's about being able to hold that form for an extended period of time. So I thought that was dope. And speaking on the women's show, like I said, I was able to catch the end of it, especially bikini. And I guess we both watched the bikini and the wellness from the house. We weren't actually in the building. I would have thought that it would have been super packed in there with 70 people competing. But looking at it, man, the same thing we said the week before about bikini, dude. 70 people doing that and they take top one, like it was nerve wracking. You know what I mean? Like we saw the faces. We're judging from the house. We're like, all right, what's this? What's this? And we came and see all the detail.
Right.
But then I think it was just like I could just imagine the nerves that was going on backstage for bikini. Like I guess we have to talk to Jillian about that, right? She's gonna probably tell us the whole behind the scenes and everything that was going on. But along with that one, I
How
guess
do
I'll
you
speak on the
feel
spectator
about
side.
how do you feel about the bikini lineup though? Because I felt like there were some people that didn't go to overalls that could have went to overalls and beat some of the girls that was in overalls.
Yeah, I
With
would
them
say
taking the
so. I was
top
like, that's
one,
why. Yeah, I think top one is of course it's not discrediting anybody who was placed in that top 3, top 8 or whatever. It's more so just speaking to I feel like especially when it's 70 people taking what was it 8 people in the finals? I think it was 8 through H. I don't want to count on my
yeah,
fingers,
something
so I'm
like
gonna just
that.
say 7 or 8 people. We're gonna say
Yeah.
7 or 8 because I ain't about to be able to A B C D, you know. But I think top 2 easily, you know, top 2 or top 3 easily. We'll talk about that at the end of the year recap, you know, because I feel like there's certain classes, and we all know bodybuilding. We know there's some classes that were super heavy, or there's some classes that can be more heavy than another class. And it's no diss to a person who won a particular category or a particular class. It's more so of in different heights and different ranges, you never know. One class can have 2 or 3 people that should be in the overall. And I think that happened. Like, for example, if we're gonna speak on it, Shelly's class. Like Shelly got second in her class, who is a former Yorton Cup champion. Um, she got beat by the girl in her class, but that doesn't mean she was 100% off or completely.
Right.
So if you go back and probably every lineup, you probably can make a case for most of those girls to make it to the overall. So I think that was just one thing, but then also that also calls for a longer period of time needed for bikini. So I can understand both sides, but I just
Right.
think I'll verbalize it. I'll say I just think it's one of those things where bikini almost carries the show, right? Like you have 70 girls, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, we talked to some bikini girls. Um, when 70 girls show up and then only 8 get a chance to go to the overall, some of them may even be discouraged, or they work harder. It's one of the two, right? So it's one of the things where I feel like maybe the OCB looking at that like, hey, maybe we'll do top 2. Who cares if it takes us a little bit longer, but we want to make sure we get this right. Of course, we're not speaking for the OCB. We're just, expressing kind of what we've seen and how we feel. But I'll go to the spectator side because I was there for the whole men's show and I was able to watch some of the women's show. From the times that they put on that flyer, that's when the show went on. That's uh, that was super. I ain't gonna say surprising because I've been to well over probably 50 to 70 shows in my life, and I never seen a show run specifically right on time. That was amazing, right? I think if they say wellness was coming on at 3, they were coming on at 3. If they say men's physique was coming on at 12, you knew when to cut on your live stream. And that was
Right.
amazing. There were 8 classes of pro bikinis, 7 plus athletes, 70 plus athletes. Yep. Most shows just pull out first place. The other classes are just lucky to get another shot. So I'm
Oh,
just
we
reading some of
reading
the comments.
comments because hey, I got a lot over here. I just haven't said nothing. Hey, I got a
Hey,
lot over here. If we're reading comments,
hey, we'll read some comments at the end because I knew this episode would run long, but let me speak about the spectator standpoint. All right, so I was able to walk into check-ins, and I walked into check-ins, and it was we can tell it was not solely putting it on one person, the conqueror. And then they seen the Yorton this year, they would know there was a lot of stuff going into it. And I think Frank was the promoter this year, if I'm not mistaken. He put on a wonderful show, which is the Conqueror. And from the OCB Yorton Cup for the people to take pictures in front of, to the check-in room being fully decked out. I know it's a team, but I know each kinds to take the head if I'm not mistaken and promote it. But Frank did an outstanding job. The Expediters was amazing. I think they have a team of Expediters, and I think I'll shout them out, Donald and Todd, both of them, Danny as well. They are typically backstage at most shows. They did a wonderful job. All right, let me not put out fallacies. The 4 admins promote the Yorton Cup. So I want to make sure that that's out there. So all 4 of the promoters did a wonderful job for the Yorton. And then, but
somebody must have
what is
messaged
it?
you.
But so then we got what is it called? The Expediters did a wonderful job. They had all the athletes ready, and I think when it was time for you guys to line up, you guys were literally going on stage. So I think that was amazing about that. I think like I said, in the crowd, I think even backstage was super clear, super clean. I was walking backstage, walking up front. There was no hiccups with trophies. The trophies that were, at the Yorton Cup is a standard. So I think everything from a spectator standpoint was great for me. They had vendors, everything like your typical show. So like I said, the OCB is growing and the Yorton Cup's growing, right? So what do we need to get into? The top 3? Then you want to do some comments?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So let's go through the top 3. We already showed you guys the winners of every class. We were able to get some photos. The only photo I wasn't able to get was the figure because it wasn't posted yet. But we'll start with bodybuilding. I call him Triple M, Magnum, Marshall, and Mecca. Of course, we
That was
spoke
cute.
about Hey, I thought about that right before the show. Triple N, you feel me? so, um, so then, like I said, Marshall, we talked about him just a couple weeks ago at the presidential. I think he got second at presidential as well, if I'm not mistaken. Mecca
Mhm.
is Mecca. He looked amazing. I think this is either his third or second time getting third, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But then he's also two-time presidential, so people know who he is in the OCB, and everybody know the man in the middle, Magnum McCray, but Mr. Photons, as we call him.
Big dog.
I'm gonna talk big dog. I'm gonna talk about, I ain't gonna call it my category, but I'm gonna speak about the category that I compete in, right? So we got Derek. Like I said, we had him on the pod. He came out and he even trolled today. I see Marcus in the comments, so I know Marcus saw that today. So he trolled a little bit, but Derek took first place. Mr. 2021 Yorton Cup champion Marcus Harris took second, and the newcomer from that got third at presidential also
Yep.
pulled a third place at the Yorton. And I think that's the one thing I didn't speak about from a spectator standpoint on my side. Um, it was so dope to walk backstage and be able to I guess talk to all the athletes. Like I was back there, good luck speaking to a few people. Like I spoke to everybody before they got on stage. I thought that was super dope. Just because it was like no stress for me, right? I'm just a spectator, so I'm just having fun. Being able to talk to some of the guys and actually meet the guys. Like I said, we follow half of these people all year long, and never get to meet them up until that day. So I think that was amazing for me to be able to do that. Next up, we got Classic Physique. So I got their names. So we talked about Domain. I hope that's his name. I hope I'm saying it right. I just watched his interview. So I think it's Domain. We have Brandon, and then we have Raymond. Was there anything you saw about these guys? You saw them up and close. I saw them from off the stage. So um, what were some characteristics of these guys' physiques that you like?
You trying to be funny right now or what?
No, I'm asking you like dead serious.
Nah, man. Damien has a great shape, man. Great upper body, man. His muscles are full. um, Brandon can definitely pose his ass off. I can say that much about him. Um, he had great details in his upper back. Raymond, he came in very conditioned, man. So all three of them are your top three, and it's well deserved. So that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. Um, they came
Gotcha.
out and they did a great job.
Yes, sir. So moving to we got women's physique, right? So we have Liz, Natalie, and Kristen, who is in the comments. It was funny. I told a quick story because, like I said, that's what this is for. People gonna listen to us or they gonna log off. One of the two. We appreciate y'all for watching this. The most viewers we had in a while. But Kristen, she it was funny. She walked up to me in the lobby and she was like, "I know you, right?" And I was just like, "I heard the accent. That's what gave it off." I was like, "Oh, that's Kristen." Like we just interviewed her, and she was just like, "Yeah." But she stayed around. So Kristen took third. Natalie, who won last year, took second, and Liz took first. So this was a great lineup. I think even through the details of this picture, if you guys can see it clearly, you can see that all of these ladies clearly came in shape. They all fit the mold of women's physique. They are what women's physique is. So definitely looking forward to next year's battle and then maybe some battles to come in early 2025. Let's go to the two. So the only person I really knew out of this lineup was Jillian. But that's not taking away anything from the second and third. There was I think her name is Marilette and Angela, who took second and third respectively. So Marilette is in the second place, which is in the green bikini, and Angela is third in the purple bikini. I think these are, if you look at the shapes of all of these women, clearly conditioning was a factor with all these women. They all came in shape, which is an amazing thing. That's the one thing that I think a lot of people push. What's up, Jillian? We see you in the comments. Welcome, welcome. What other categories do we have? There we go. Wellness. So moving to wellness top three, we had Callie. We have Desiree, who took second last year, and of course, friend of the
Desire.
show. Oh, yeah, as they said, Desiree, but Desiree, as we know, and then friend of the show, like I said, Big Coco, Miss Constance. So she took third. So I think the one thing, and I can't forget the last one. Like I said, I just have a picture of her, but this is Maddie McConnell, who won the Yorton Cup. And like I said, looked phenomenal. Shape, delts, quads, everything is there. Um, but there was something I realized about this picture, brother, and we got to talk about it. You ready for that?
Let's go.
So if we look at this picture, man, what do we see from this picture, brother?
I don't know. I mean, it's blurry on my end, but you go ahead and tell me what we see.
Hey, it's all new champions, brother. It's all new champions. So it
Well, except
lines
for
up for I
Magnum.
think of yes, except for Magnum, right? Okay, except for Magnum. Take Magnum out the picture, right? Except for Magnum and his all new champions, and I think the hype, the interest, I think that builds for a huge 2025. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I speak about it all the time about the Yorton Cup, is um, it's no clear cut winners all the time, right? It's the cup is constantly changing hands in most categories. In some categories, people move on, go to other organizations. Uh, some people take years off. Uh, some people, just don't compete again or whatever that looks like. So I think the
Right.
interest for 2025, people are saying that, hey, the Yorton's going to reach 300 people. The Yorton's going to be this next year. I think next year, hold up. Well, I'll do that after this. I think the Yorton next year is going to be big, man. I think with the titles constantly changing, there's going to be people who want to go get their titles back. There's going to be people who are coming out the woodworks, the new guys who really want to go there, and new ladies who really want to try to go win it. So, what do you think? Do you think that builds hype? Do you think that does anything for the show next year?
Hey, whoever shows up. I mean, that's you know what I'm saying. It's a big draw, man. The Yorton Cup is definitely a big draw. So whoever shows up, shows up. I think it's going to be a pretty good show next year. Pretty big show. And like you said, people are coming for their titles back, and that's that. So simple, simple as that,
So,
man.
so the last thing, because like I said, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. So I definitely want to send out a verbal invite. I have already messaged a few, or we already messaged a few of you guys, the winners from last year. We think it would be an honor to have you guys on. We've been doing this for, I think, about going on 2 years now, 2.5 years doing this, of making sure that we kind of put the spotlight on the people, um, the athletes inside the show. This is, of course, opinions, and these are also real life athletes that compete here in the OCB and compete elsewhere. We're just trying to build an actual bodybuilding. We say it's infotainment. We try to entertain y'all a little bit and give y'all information. So the last piece of information we have for you tonight is, if you didn't watch the live stream, you weren't there in person, this was said over the live stream. So I'll let you guys take it. But next year, the money's going up. So first place would get $6,000, second place would get 3,500, and third place would get 1,500 at the Yorton Cup.
Right.
So does
And
five
I just
sound
gotta
does six sound better? Does six sound better than five to you?
if you win. If you win, shit. But I do gotta say one thing because I know a couple weeks ago we preach sportsmanship on this show, and if we say something or if I say something, I'm gonna stand on that 100%. Um, Sunday didn't go my way. Everybody knows that. It was a total shock to me or whatever, and some people try to paint the picture that I didn't display good sportsmanship. Listen, I'm human. You know, I was shocked. I didn't get in the top three. So it's only right for me to show the emotion that I showed. It wasn't a disrespect to anybody that was on that stage. It wasn't a disrespect to anybody in the crowd, any of the judges. I was shocked. So for people to try to paint a picture of me like I'm a bad person or I got bad sportsmanship, that's totally wrong. So I just want to clear the air on that. So
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that. Like I said, the judges picked the three people they felt was best that day, and there's nothing we can do about that. We just move forward and keep going, get better.
gotcha. Perfect. See, people don't see. I'm telling you, I'm gonna let you know because I'm the homie. People were waiting for you to crash out, bro. They was waiting for it. People threw the
Bruh,
eye
I ain't gonna
emoji. They
crash
like, I
out,
can't
bruh.
wait for it. I can't wait for
Nah,
it. Nah, but I
I
think
ain't gonna crash out, man.
that's that's the one thing. And like we said, we you brought it to here. And I think we like we said, we preach a bunch of different habits and we tell people a lot of different things from experience. As Shannon Sharp say, I'm telling you what I know, not what I heard, right? So we're telling people what we experience. And I think the one thing about you, what you did that day was because like I said, you were with me most of the weekend. So then it was just like you took the 2 days, right? You didn't. You could have went online. You could have said whatever you wanted to say and thought out of emotion, thought out of whatever you was feeling in that moment, but you didn't. You know, you took the time to think about whatever you and process everything. And I think, like you said, I think as an athlete, I think all bodybuilders or any bodybuilders are going to go through a moment where they're going to go through a similar experience. I've been through
Right.
one, and um, of course, in that current moment, it surprises you, right? Or it's just like, what is this or what happened, right? And a lot of people are asking you to process something in the matter of 10 seconds, right? At the time, you
Mm-hmm.
don't even know what your face is doing or anything, right? So trying to process something in 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 12 seconds, that fast. But then, like you said, still being able to congratulate the guys and everything like that is perfect. But let's hit some you have. If you have any comments over there, questions, let's try to answer those because that's how we started this a long time ago. Answer questions and reading comments. But if we don't have any, then we will move on and end the pod. So let's see what we got. Oh man,
I got a lot over here. I don't know. I got a lot,
I think
dude.
the all right, we'll just try to pick a few comments. So when I said something about this is why I love men's physique because we like the most catty division ever, as everybody say. So I guess when I said the thing about and both of them are in the chat, so I'm gonna speak up to both of y'all. Flex God posted the troll from when he was on the podcast. Marcus said, "Let him breathe." So I think that's kind of funny. What else we got? Uh, we can also shout out Bobby Show. That's in the comments. The Chesapeake Classic or Chesapeake Pro Master Show, October 12th. He got some crazy nice belts, y'all. The black and gold one and the white and gold in Baltimore. So that's another chance for some Masters pros to go out there, win some money, and get some stage time. What else we have? Do. Okay, I got one question. You got a question over there? 'Cause I got to answer this one.
Go ahead.
All right, let me take the hat off for this. Let me make sure that Let's go ask Eric, are you coming back? I'll be back next year, brother. I'll see you on stage, player. I gotta put my hat back on.
I got one that says, "Do you feel classic in the OCB is moving away from conditioning as a priority?" Um, I I don't know. I think it's just different, which it's different from show to show, man. Because I I don't want to say anything to make it sound like I'm hating, but the winner at presidential, I won and I had conditioning over the person that just won Sunday. So I don't know. You would have to get with Sully, I guess, for that. I don't know. I can't answer that. What you think?
What you say? The classic?
Yes, he said, "Do you feel classic and the OCB is moving away from conditioning as a priority?"
I think for my perspective, when I judge classic, or I think even when you look at the criteria, I think shape takes precedent, but then conditioning is still important. Um, and this may be the wrong thing to say, and I know people are looking and watching or whatever. But I think
Yeah,
the one thing about conditioning is I think that got to be a standard. Like for me, I like granted classic shouldn't come in with striated glutes like we see what bodybuilders look like. But I think classic should still have a certain level of conditioning. Um, because I feel like whenever you come in not conditioned, you're leaving it up to the eyes of the judges to figure out is he conditioned enough or not, as to just saying, hey, I'm coming in conditioned. And then if somebody tells me I'm overly conditioned, I'd rather take that than somebody telling me I'm out of shape. So that's why when conditioning, even in men's physique for me, it's a standard for me. So I think even in classic, there has to be a certain level of conditioning that you should bring. And I think that's in most categories. I think in almost all the categories, conditioning there is a certain standard for conditioning.
right.
So I mean, if I can't necessarily, like I said, I don't speak for the organization, but most of the time, whenever I see classic, most of those guys come in condition.
Right.
Um, so I don't think nobody's moving away from that.
Carolina,
Um,
when's the next show? There's a date we can stamp. I got a couple more shows to finish out this year, so I'm not going to veer off the course that I had planned for the year. So I got a couple more shows. Um, Low key thought you were robbed, Carolina. Did you think you should have won? It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the seven judges put on that piece of paper and pass down to the tabulator. So it is what it is. Um, and that's pretty much it over here. Well, I had a lot more, but I'm not about to get into all these comments, man. They're
gotcha.
getting messy over here.
I forgot you're reading from your page. Let's move away from that. I'm reading from the Let's Talk About It page. So lastly, I have a few comments. I know Keith Holland said men's physique is the wide receivers of building bodybuilding. Hey, we just tall over here. That's hey, that's all it is. Um, and then we'll shout out, of course, the Captain's Cup in March. Just Marcus is in the comments, so he's shout out Captain's Cup. They have Wellness Pro there. So any wellness ladies whose season is starting over, go get that qualification. I think it's down in Tampa, at the Captain's Cup. But do y'all think we should cap the competitors? I think 70 plus was too much. What do you think?
It doesn't matter what I think. Hey, it does not matter what I think, bro.
Hey, people are
Listen,
asking.
it
So
doesn't matter what I think.
people are asking, and like I said, this is just an opinion. I think if we're just giving opinions, I mean,
Bro,
I don't think.
even with our opinions, bro, shit get twisted, dog. And you know that, bro. It doesn't matter what we think. Go go talk to the foreheads of the OCB. Don't talk to us.
Nah, I think, and we'll talk about a lot of stuff at the end of the year recap. And like I said, I think those are conversations that are had behind closed doors and that's had offline. I don't think there should necessarily be a cap to any um category, right? But I think maybe in the future, as the sport continue to grow, especially for these very prestigious shows, I think maybe the qualification process may get harder, right? So then that way, not eliminating people, but it's almost like, hey, we know when you show up to the Yorton, this is the best of the best of the best, right? Because I think that's the people who wins the Yorton. It's the best of the best on that day, right? So I think not saying, oh, there should be a specific cap, but how do you manage the number of people who sign up? Because also you got to remember having all these competitors is also the reason they're able to raise the money as well. So we can't say we want more money and then cut competitors. So it has to be an equal median, and it also has, because if we be like, oh, there's a 30-person cap, but registration is $350, $400, how many people gonna want to do it? So I think you got to look at both sides, of course. Um, I'm looking at it from an athlete perspective, like, yeah, 70 competitors sounds like a lot, but then it's also like you got to think about it from the business standpoint as well. So, hey, I'm running for president 2025, as you can tell.
Hey, you doing something right now. Hey, hey, boy. Hey, you putting it on thick over there.
So, but other than that, man, hey, we appreciate everybody for joining. Like I said, y'all listen to us talk for 30 minutes. We really appreciate the people who follow the page. If you are new to the page, please go watch some of the old and former videos we have on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube. We're trying to get that to hey, we had 99 followers on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube. We appreciate y'all for listening in. But we out. Peace.
Peace.